I'm Alex, 31, and this is how my fiancée taught her entire family I was temporary, and how a single sentence on a government form ended our engagement before she could legally lock me into being her backup plan. Lauren and I had been together for 3 years. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party. She was the loudest person in the room, in a good way. Big laugh, big hair, big stories about her job, her friends, her exes. I was a guy in the corner, actually eating the food and talking to one person at a time. Somehow, she zeroed in on me. "You're not talking to anyone," she'd said, dropping onto the couch next to me. "Are you mysterious or just socially lazy?" I choked on my drink. She grinned. That was Lauren. We clicked. Quickly. I liked her energy. She liked that I listened. She'd rant about her boss, her mom, her roommate, the woman in front of her at Starbucks. I'd sit there nodding, asking questions. She'd always end with, "God, I love how I can say anything to you." We got serious fast. Exclusive within a month. Moved in together after a year. Engaged on a long weekend trip when I was 30 and she was 29. The proposal wasn't Pinterest level, just us on the balcony of a cabin, watching the sun go down. I pulled out the ring, hands shaking, and asked. She burst into tears and said yes, so fast I barely got the question out. She immediately staged a whole photo shoot with her phone. Ring photos, hand-over-mouth shock photos, us kissing photos. By the time we went to bed, everyone we knew had seen it on Instagram. Her family was over the moon. My parents loved her. It looked perfect from the outside. From the inside, there were hairline fractures I pretended not to see. The first red flags came disguised as jokes. When we were out with friends, she'd introduce me like this. "This is Alex, my fiancé. I picked him because he's stable, not because he's exciting." Everyone would laugh. I did too. It stung a little, but I told myself it was just her humor. She'd post captions like, "Date night with my safe choice winking face with tongue." Or say to her friends, "Oh, Alex? He's the guy your mom wants you to marry, not the one you dream about in your 20s. The first time I tried to call out was about 6 months after we got engaged. We were getting ready for bed. She was brushing her teeth and scrolling on her phone at the same time, a skill I'll never understand. "Hey," I said, "can you stop calling me safe like it's an insult?" She looked up, toothbrush hanging out of her mouth. "What?" "The jokes about me being temporary or safe or not exciting enough. It's the lot." She rinsed, spit, wiped her face. "Alex, I'm joking," she said. "You know that, right? You're reading way too much into it. It doesn't feel like a joke when you say it in front of everyone. All the time." She sighed. "You're sensitive. That's one of the things I like about you. But you need to understand my humor. My friends know I love you. My family knows I love you. Don't make this into a big thing." So I swallowed it, told myself I was overreacting, that this was just how she talked. But the jokes didn't stop. They evolved. About 4 months before the wedding, we started the marriage license process. In our city, you fill out an application online, then both partners go to the clerk's office with IDs. Pick up the license, sign in front of the clerk, and you're good to go. Lauren was thrilled. "This makes it real," she said, bouncing on the couch with her laptop. "Like, legally real." We sat together and filled it out. Names, birthdays, addresses, social security numbers, parents' names, intended date of marriage. It was boring but kind of sweet. At the end, there was a confirmation page with both our names and a line. Both applicants state their full intent to marry. We checked the box, clicked submit, got the confirmation email. "We'll book the license pickup for next Thursday," she said. "We'll go on our lunch break. Make it cute." I smiled, tried to ignore the weird knot forming in my chest, because by that point, the comments had shifted from jokes to something sharper. At her cousin's birthday dinner. "Don't get attached to Alex, you guys. He's my trial run at being a wife." At a brunch with her friends. If I'd met my real husband in my 20s, I wouldn't have needed a practice fiancé. Always with a laugh. Always followed with, "I'm kidding. Relax." People laughed along. Some looked uncomfortable. No one ever actually challenged her, except once. And that's the conversation that changed everything. It was a Saturday afternoon, 2 weeks after we submitted the license application. Her sister, Jenna, came over. They were in the living room with a bottle of wine and wedding magazines. I was in the kitchen unpacking groceries. Our apartment isn't big. I wasn't trying to listen, but Lauren is not quiet. Her voice carries through walls, doors, space-time. Jenna asked, "Are you nervous at all? Like, actually getting married?" Lauren laughed. "About the wedding?" "No." "About the marriage?" She paused. "A little." My stomach tightened. "How come?" Jenna asked. "Because it still feels like I'm settling," Lauren said. "I always thought I'd end up with someone more. You know? More successful, more driven, more intense. Alex is fine." It felt like my heart dropped straight into the produce drawer. "Then why are you marrying him?" Jenna asked, voice careful. "Because I'm almost 31, Lauren said. "I don't want to start over. Alex is safe. He's kind. My parents love him. He's never going to cheat on me or blow our savings on crypto. He's a good first husband." Jenna actually laughed in disbelief. "First husband?" she repeated. "I'm joking," Lauren said quickly. "Mostly." "Lauren," Jenna said, and there was a tone in her voice I'd never heard before. "That's really messed up." "Relax," Lauren replied. "I'm not planning to leave him or anything. I'm just saying if I meet my actual soulmate at 40, I'm not going to chain myself to good enough forever. And does Alex know he's good enough and not the one?" Jenna asked. "He doesn't need to," Lauren said. "He's happy. He's comfortable. He won't question it. That's kind of the point." My hands were shaking so hard, I nearly dropped the jar of pasta sauce. Jenna went quiet for a moment. "You know," she said finally, "if he ever heard you say that, he'd probably walk." "He won't," Lauren said confidently. "He doesn't listen at doors. He trusts me." She was right about one thing. I did trust her, right up until that moment. That night, she kissed me on the cheek and said, "Thanks for doing the grocery run, babe." Like she hadn't just dismantled our relationship's foundation in the next room. I lay awake next to her, staring at the ceiling, replaying every joke, every just teasing, every "he's safe, not exciting" comment. Starter husband. Temporary. Good enough for now. Apparently, that was me. Around 1:30 a.m., I got out of bed, went to the living room, and opened my laptop. The city website was still open in my browser history. One click, and I was back on our marriage license application page. Status. Pending approval. There was a Modify Application button. My hands hovered over the keyboard for a long time. I could have confronted her. I could have shaken her awake. Told her I heard everything. Demanded answers. Instead, I flicked the one domino that would make it impossible for her to pretend later that she didn't mean it. I clicked Modify. All of our information appeared again. Names, addresses, parents, dates. At the bottom, the line we'd checked together. Both applicants state their full intent to marry. There were 2 checkboxes, one for each of us, and a drop-down next to each with options like withdrawn, amended, corrected. I unchecked my box. Selected. Intent withdrawn by applicant. Below, there was a mandatory note field. Reason for modification for clerk use. I typed, "Applicant has decided not to proceed with marriage to co-applicant." I hovered. Then I added, "Applicant became aware co-applicant has been describing him to family as temporary, and as starter husband she is settling for." I read it 3 times. Click. Save. Log out. My heart was pounding, but a strange calm settled over me. For the first time in months, I felt like I'd done something for myself. I closed the laptop, went back to bed, and lay there listening to her breathing. The future she thought she was locking in with me had just quietly shifted under her feet, and she had no idea. The next few days, she acted like everything was normal. She sent me TikToks about wedding fails. She texted pictures of centerpieces. She complained about her mom being too involved. Tuesday night, over takeout, she said, "Don't forget, Tomorrow we have to go pick up the license at 1:30. I might not be able to make it, I said. Work's been crazy. She waved a hand. It's okay. Only one of us has to be there to pick it up. As long as we both sign online, we're good. I'll go on my lunch break. Sure, I said. She kissed me, thanked me for being so chill, and went back to scrolling through Dress Inspo. Wednesday, I went into the office. I didn't get any work done. 1 p.m. came and went. 1:20, 1:35. At 1:42, my phone started vibrating on my desk. Lauren. I stared at it for a second, then answered. Hello. What did you do? She demanded. Her voice was shaking, high and tight. Good afternoon to you, too, I said. Alex, I'm not playing, she snapped. What did you do? You're going to have to be more specific, I said calmly. I do a lot of things. She took a ragged breath. I went to pick up our marriage license, she said. The clerk pulled up our application, frowned, and then she read it out loud, in front of everyone in line. My heart was pounding now, but my voice stayed even. What had she read? I asked. She said, Lauren choked. Application flagged. Groom has withdrawn intent to marry due to co-applicant describing him as temporary and a starter husband she is settling for. The silence on the phone crackled. She read that. Lauren repeated, out loud. There were like 20 people in there, Alex. They all heard, and then she looked at me like I was trash. Sounds accurate, I said. How could you humiliate me like that? She shouted. How could you talk about me like that? I shot back. To your sister. In our living room. She went dead quiet. You heard, she said finally. Every word. I replied. Starter husband. Temporary. Settling because you don't want to start over. Planning to upgrade if someone better comes along. I was venting, she said quickly. You weren't supposed to hear that. That doesn't make it better, Lauren, I said. It makes it worse. You're willing to trash me as a placeholder, as long as you're sure I'll never find out. It was just a joke. No, I said. All the jokes were leading up to that. That was the truth that slipped out when you felt safe. She started crying. You blindsided me, she said, in a government office. Do you have any idea how embarrassing that was? The clerk asked if I was okay. People were staring. Yeah, I said. I figured you'd finally feel something close to how it felt hearing you talk about me, like I was a trial run. You could have just talked to me, she said, voice cracking. We could have worked it out. I did try. I reminded her, months ago, when I asked you to stop making jokes about me not being enough. You told me I was too sensitive and that your family knew you loved me. This is too far, she whispered. You've ruined everything. No, Lauren, I said quietly. You ruined everything when you decided I was an easy man to treat like a safety net. I heard her breathing hard. So what now? She demanded. You're calling off the wedding? I already did, I said. You just found out. That night, I didn't go home. I checked into a cheap hotel off the highway, sat on the edge of the bed staring at the ugly carpet, phone buzzing every few minutes. Calls, texts, from Lauren, from her mom, from Jenna. I ignored them until my phone lit up with Jenna's name. I answered. Alex, she said softly. It's Jenna. Please don't hang up. I'm here, I said. I heard what happened at the clerk's office, she said. Lauren called me sobbing. I'm sure she did. There was a pause. I just want you to know, Jenna said. I told her that day she was out of line, when she called you a starter husband. I told her if you ever heard that, you'd leave. She didn't believe me. She believes you now, I said. She does, Jenna replied, and she's scared. She's scared of being alone, I said, not scared of losing me. More silence. I'm not going to tell you what to do, Jenna said finally. You don't owe her anything. But I will say this. You are not temporary. And you deserve someone who sees that without needing to lose you first. I swallowed hard. Thanks, I said quietly. Whatever you decide, she added. My family might take her side, but I won't. I saw your face in the kitchen that day when you brought us snacks. I knew you'd heard. I should have said something. You didn't owe me that either, I said. I already heard enough. We hung up. I lay on the bed and stare at the ceiling until sleep finally dragged me under. The next morning, I went back to the apartment while Lauren was at work. I packed a bag, some clothes, my laptop, important documents. I left the ring box on the dresser. That evening, I texted her, "I'm staying at a friend's for now. We'll talk later about logistics." She replied almost instantly, "Please come home. We can fix this. I'm so sorry." I put the phone down and let the message sit. For once, it could be her turn to sit with discomfort. It's been 3 weeks now. The wedding is officially canceled. Lauren emailed everyone a vague change of plans. We've decided to part ways statement. People have been reaching out, some to check on me, some to ask for gossip. I haven't given them any. Lauren and I met once at a coffee shop to talk about practical stuff, split the savings we put aside for the wedding, figure out the lease, who keeps what. She looked smaller, deflated. The same woman who used to dominate every room now stirred her coffee like it might attack her. "I've been in therapy," she said quietly. "Since all this." "Good," I said. "I realized," she continued, "that I treated you like something I earned by being who I am, not as a person who chose me back. I thought if I didn't hype myself up, I'd disappear. So I made everyone else smaller instead." She looked up. "I'm sorry," she said, genuinely, not just for what I said that day, for all of it, for years of jokes that were really just me putting you down so I wouldn't feel scared. I nodded. "I believe you're sorry," I said, "but I also believe you meant every word when you said I was temporary." She winced. "I don't think that anymore," she said. "I know I messed this up. I know I don't deserve another chance. But if there ever is one, if you ever—" "There won't be," I said gently. "I'm not saying that to hurt you. I'm saying it because I finally believe I deserve more than being someone's practice run a commitment." Tears spilled over. "I get it," she whispered. "I really do." We finished our coffee. We divided the money. We walked out into the parking lot. She said, "You were never temporary, Alex. I told myself you were because I was terrified you'd leave if you realized you were better than me. I didn't leave because I realized I was better. I said, I left because you didn't even try to meet me where I was." We said goodbye. Not dramatically. Not with screaming. Just quietly. Do I regret changing the marriage license? No. If I'd gone through with the wedding, I would have stood there in front of everyone we love, making promises to someone who'd already decided I was her backup plan. Instead, a clerk in a government office read one honest sentence out loud and forced Lauren to face herself. She thought that day was the moment everything fell apart. But the truth is, everything fell apart the moment she started calling me temporary and start a husband and convince herself I'd never hear it, or that even if I did, I wouldn't leave. I'm Alex, 31, single again, staying in a small apartment with mismatched furniture and 0 wedding deposits to worry about. And for the first time in a long time, I don't feel like anyone's placeholder. I feel like a person whose life is no longer on hold while someone else decides whether I'm worth keeping. That's not temporary. That's a fresh start.